Hi everyone, my name is Courtney and I'm making my first video today that's going to go on YouTube to talk about my cross stitch. It's a great hobby. It's one of my favorite things to do, one of my favorite ways to spend my time. And I've recently discovered that there is an entire community of you out there on YouTube who regularly post these videos with updates of your works in progress, with tips about technique, and celebrations of finished objects. And that's really just something that I want to be a part of. So I thought I would join the party and hopefully make some new friends. I think I'm a long way off from being able to teach anyone anything, but maybe one day I'll get to that point. And also, one of the biggest benefits I see for myself about doing this is that I'll have a record for myself of all the progress that I've made on the pieces that I'm working on, especially the larger ones, the ones that seem to be taking me a lot of time, and the ones I get easily discouraged about. So for all those reasons, I'm hoping this will be a really good thing. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch me today. There are a bunch of things I could do by way of introduction. Maybe I'll just say a little bit about myself and then I'll jump right into my works in progress, because I think those are the main things I want to be sharing today, and I'll save some more of my ideas for later videos. So, like I said, my name is Courtney, and I live in the United States, in Texas. I'm married to a wonderful man. We don't have any kids, but we would like some maybe in the next couple of years. But we're both really focused on our careers right now. So speaking of careers, what I do for a living is very analytical. There's a lot of data analysis. There's a lot of processes and systems and tough decisions, judgment calls, even a little bit of math. So I find myself exercising my logical brain regularly for hours and hours every day at my job. And cross stitch has become for me a creative outlet, a way to just relax, express a creative side, and so that's a really wonderful thing in my life. I think it helps me stay balanced and really contributes to my mental health. So we have a cat. Her name is Ahsoka, and maybe she'll make an appearance on my videos once in a while. She usually likes to come up and hang out wherever I'm working. She's regularly getting in the way of my cross-stitch activities when she comes up and purrs and demands to be petted. But she's very precious, so I hope you guys get to see her. Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say for an introduction right now, so I guess I'll jump right into the things that I'm working on. So, I have 4 works in progress to share with you today. I will say that before I found this YouTube community, I was very discouraged and down on myself for having started so many things and not finished. I don't know, for some reason I just thought that was not normal or not really productive, but you guys have just shown me the light. And I've been very encouraged by how all of you guys seem to juggle so many different projects at once, and the ways that you come up with to do that and still make progress, like rotations. It's a totally new idea for me. Maybe I'll try it, I don't know, but so I have 4 things that I'm working on, and now I know, because of you guys, that is not unmanageable. I can handle it, so I'm really happy to have learned that. The first one that I'll show you is the one I most recently started, and it's the one that I've been working on the most lately. It is this pattern. It's called Voyage, and it's by Satsuma Street, who is a designer on Etsy, and she is very popular, at least in the Reddit community. I'm also part of the cross-stitch subreddit, r/cross-stitch on Reddit. I've posted there once or twice and comment on things, and I love looking at everybody's progress pictures and stuff. So Satsuma Street is the talk of Reddit right now. She's a designer who does the Pretty Little Cities, like Pretty Little Tokyo, Pretty Little Paris. They're small designs. All of her designs are really bright and cheerful. And so this one is called Voyage. It's a boat. It is, I think, about 7.5 by 13 inches. It's designed to be stitched on 14 count Aida, and so that is what I'm doing. And I'm intending to hang it in my bathroom when I'm done with it. So I'll show you my work now. This is my progress to date. Look how pretty it is. The colors just make me so happy. And it has just been really a joy to stitch. I don't know how well you guys can see, so I'm just going to move it around a little bit. And hopefully you can catch all the different pieces of the design. I didn't take it off the frame because this frame is not super fun to work with, but I'll talk about that more in another video, I'm sure. Or maybe even later in this one. So, what I like a lot about this pattern is that it does have blocks of color. I'm a type of stitcher that really enjoys working through blocks of solid color. I like being able to just run back and forth on a row in one color and make a lot of progress without having to fiddle with cutting off my thread or starting a new color. But I do tend to get bored if I have too much of one color, I guess. So this particular piece has really struck a happy medium for me. I enjoy changing up the colors, but I do get that fix of feeling like I can sit down and in one session do a whole chunk or a whole, several chunks of color and feel like I really accomplished something. So, yes, you may have noticed that the sample was done on black Aida, but I made the design call to switch to a navy. This is a 14 count navy Aida that I bought at Joann Fabrics, and I'm really happy with the effect. I was concerned at first that the darker blues in the design, like this flag up here, wouldn't show up well against the navy. And you guys can judge for yourselves, I guess, but personally I'm happy with how it's turned out. So I'm about halfway done. I'm almost finished with the first 2 pages. This design is only 4 pages, which I know is quite small compared to some of the work that the rest of you guys are doing. But that means it's going to be a quick finish for me, hopefully. And I'm really enjoying it, so it's unlikely, I think, that I'll put this one away out of boredom or discouragement. So that is Voyage by Satsuma Street. I definitely recommend purchasing some of her patterns. They're just really fun to stitch. Alright, the next work in progress is I'm trying to decide which one to show you next, which order I want to go in. Alright, I'll do this one. This is a super old one. I started this years and years and years ago. I'll probably go into this more later if I decide to do the Know Your Stitcher tag that everybody has been doing. And so I think it's a really good introduction, but the short story is my grandma taught me how to stitch when I was about 10 years old, and she gave me a whole bunch of kits that she had in her stash, and this was one of those. So I've had the pattern for like, I don't know, 10 or 12 years now, and I started it, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it's one of those ones that I kind of pick up once in a while. and then put down, because I don't want to keep working on it. But anyway, here is the picture. It's by Dimensions. It's an older pattern, obviously, called Blessed Nativity Advent Calendar. So that's the picture. And it's got this whole background piece. And then each one of these little charms you stitch individually on canvas. And then, like, it's an Advent calendar, so you tie one on every day of December until Christmas. So that's the picture, and now I'll show you my progress on it. Here it is. You can see this one is a bit larger. I forgot to count this fabric. Looks like it's 14 count Aida. It looks to be about the same size as my Voyage Aida, so probably that's what it is. 14 count, 2/1. At least I think that's what 2/1 means. I've heard you guys refer to stitching that way, and I think it means, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it means 2 strands of floss over 1 thread in the fabric. Which for Aida, it's not one individual fiber, but it's like one weave in the fabric. So if that's what 2/1 means, then this is 2/1, as is Voyage that I just showed you. So yeah, here it is. I haven't done any of the charms yet. Kind of stuck on the background. I haven't worked on this in quite a while. I don't know. I think my problem is, I have a couple problems with this piece. I do want to finish it, but I don't know, the colors don't jive with me. Like, it's an older pattern, and it's traditional kind of Americana cross-stitch style. Neither of those things really appeal to me. I can't really picture this hanging in my house at Christmas time and me enjoying it necessarily. Maybe I would, I don't know. But I also really don't like to stitch on canvas, and that's what those little charms are. I just can't envision myself using this as an actual Advent calendar. And so that's, I think, why I haven't really been motivated to finish it at all. Actually, the last time I worked on this was maybe a year ago, and it was really because I didn't have anything else to work on at the time. So that's why I picked it up. I just wanted to stitch and I didn't care on what. So that was why I stitched on this the last time I worked on it. It's really amateurish, some of the parts of this stitch are, because like I said, I started it, I have no idea, years ago. I was probably in middle school, at least definitely a teenager when I started this, very inexperienced stitcher. And you can see in some areas of the cross stitch, particularly this little sheep, this guy jumps out at me every time that I look at this stitch, because he has this row of stitches in the middle of him that go the other way. I totally didn't pay attention at all to which direction my stitches go and making sure that they all go the same direction. So that looks really amateurish. And there's a couple places in these red boxes for the dates where, like, I missed a back stitch like that. So I mean, in one way it kind of makes me roll my eyes at myself for not caring about the quality of my work at the time, but it also makes me look back and see, I guess, how far I've come as a stitcher since then. So I don't know if I'm going to finish this or not. It kind of bothers me to have it sitting here as a UFO. I think that's just really sad, and it, I don't know, irritates my psyche, my personality, to have things that are unfinished. So I'll either probably finish it, or I'll totally get rid of it and throw it away. I don't know. Anyway, so that's my Blessed Nativity Advent Calendar. I kind of think, since I'm doing cross-stitching as a hobby, because it's something that I enjoy, I might not force myself to finish that. It would probably be harder for me to get rid of it if I did finish it. So, and I don't think I really like it, and so I shouldn't have it in my house. Anyway, that's that. My third work in progress is, well, I'll insert a picture here because I don't actually have a physical pattern for this piece. This is, it's a bunch of grapes, as you can see. This pattern, I found the graphic on Pinterest. I really liked it. It was perfect for what I had in mind, which I'm not exactly going to tell you yet because I think I'll make a devoted video to what this piece is going to be once I'm finished with the piece, how I'm going to finish it off. But the grapes were just perfect, and I followed the link on Pinterest and couldn't find like the actual source of the pattern. Like, I have no idea who designed this. It's free online, it's out there. The site is in Russian, so that's a little sketchy, and I'm not sure, honestly, if it was, legitimately posted up there or not. At the time when I started this, it didn't really matter to me. I was like, well, I can see the pattern, so I'll just do it. But now that I've gotten more familiar with the community of cross-stitchers and pattern designers out there, I have gained a lot more respect for the work that goes into designing these patterns, and it bothers me a little bit not to know who designed this or where I can actually purchase the pattern. So I'm stitching it anyway, but if any of you know who the designer of this piece is, or where I can find the pattern to legitimately purchase it, or if you know that it actually is a legitimate freebie online, please tell me, because I would really like to know and support the designer if I can. So anyway, with that said, here is my progress on the piece. You can see all of that, I hope. In retrospect, this would have maybe been a good one to work in columns with parking, but I didn't learn about parking until recently, and that was well after I started this piece. So and it is only a few colors. It's like 4 different shades of purple and 3 different shades of green and 2 shades of brown. So I've just been working it in color blocks. But anyway, there it is. It's stitched on canvas, actually. I got this canvas from, I think, a Hancock Fabrics in my area, and I don't know what count it was supposed to be. I just looked at it in the store and I thought, oh, this feels about right. I can probably use this. And I just counted it before I started this video, and to me it looks like it's about 30 count, 30 weaves in 1 inch. And I'm doing this design, I'm stitching 2 threads over 3 weaves in the fabric. So I'm getting about 10 stitches in per inch on the fabric. Yeah, so this one is kind of fun for that same reason again, that it doesn't have too many colors. I can use all the thread or the floss that I cut for myself. I can use as much of it as I want to by just working my way around the grapes wherever and following wherever that color goes, and I can use my thread until it's out, so I don't have to cut and tie or finish and keep going elsewhere. So I get to work with the same color for a long time, but it has enough colors that it keeps me interested. So anyway, something interesting else, since it's interesting, you can probably see I ironed this, but I didn't use a hot enough iron really, so you can still see the creases in the fabric, but you can tell that they're really close together over here, and that's because I was working on this. I haven't worked on it recently because I've been working on Voyage, but I was working on this with the fabric rolled up like this. I was stitching it with fabric in hand. I didn't even use a hoop. I had the fabric rolled up like this, and I was stitching. Can you guys see that? I gotta stay in the frame. I was stitching with my right hand, and I used my left hand to kind of find the right spot for my needle on the back. And so I was working with it all bunched up in my hand like this. This was before I ever got a frame. So when I'm finished with Voyage, I will put this piece back on the frame that I have, and it won't have to be all bunched up like that anymore. I really hate working in hoops. I have a few hoops, but I don't like them, so I don't use them. But when I discovered that rectangular frames were things, scroll frames particularly, I thought, oh, that's exactly what I need. So I bought one. And the one that I have right now, actually, this one is just from Joann. It's super cheap and infinitely better than holding the fabric in my hand or using a hoop. So it's a godsend to me right now, but I would like to upgrade to an actual quality frame at some point. I don't know, maybe for my birthday. I'll ask for it from my husband. So he's actually an amateur woodworker too, so I wouldn't be surprised if he would prefer to make one for me than buy me one. So that would be really special. If he ever watches this, hint, that would be a good gift. Okay, my last work in progress. This is the last thing I have to show you guys. This has kind of been ongoing as well, and it was also one of those situations where I found the inspiration on Pinterest. So first I'm going to show you a little collage of pictures that inspired me to do this. So I'll put those up on the screen. So as you can see, these are all like white thread, white floss on brown fabric, basically. And I looked at that and I thought, oh my goodness, that's so cute. That's very rustic, like, shabby chic, like cross stitch on burlap. Oh, I love it. I have to do that. So I went and got myself some burlap, and I got myself some floss that is actually not your regular 6-strand floss. And well, it was kind of a disaster because what you see in those pictures, maybe this is no surprise to you guys, but it was to me, is not actually burlap. It looks like rough, kind of like burlap, but it's not burlap. It's probably mostly linen, brown linen. So anyway, I'll show you what I started with. I got a lot of progress on this because I was in denial about not actually liking it, but look at this. So this is the piece of burlap that I bought at a Joann somewhere. And look how big the weave is. You can see right through it. Can you see me? I can see the camera through this. Yeah, it's, I think, 10 count. There's 10 fibers in an inch. And, like, to be honest, the stitching doesn't actually look bad. It's kind of cute. But what really killed this for me, I think, is how rough the burlap is. And I was really hoping to use this as a pillowcase. Yes, I'll wait while you laugh at me. You can laugh at me. It's okay. And it just didn't go. It didn't go well. I would, kind of test it out by putting my cheek on it. Oh, like just putting it there. It's so rough. It's so rough. I would never enjoy actually laying back on this. And I was deluding myself to keep going this long thinking it would be fine because I was like, oh no, when I'll lay there, I'll put my cheek on the floss. That's a lot softer. No, it was just a bad idea. So I kind of scrapped it, and that made me sad. I didn't want to scrap it entirely though because I still love the idea. I just needed new fabric. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I found this. This is actually linen. This is a brown linen. I have no idea what count. Probably like 28, I'm guessing. And it's still a little bit rough, but it's so much better than the burlap. And it's really more the look that I was going for to begin with. So now, I started again. You can see that. It's like a repetition of the same type of pattern, which I'll talk about the pattern in a minute, but I used the same thread on this, the same floss as I was using on the burlap, And it worked on the burlap all right because it's so much thicker than your typical 6-strand DMC. It is actually this stuff. It's also DMC, but it is cotton pearl thread. It doesn't really come apart, you know, and so I thought, well, since the holes in the burlap are so much bigger, I should use a thicker thread. So I used this stuff. It's B5200 pearl thread, pearl cotton from DMC. And anyway, it did. I was glad I got it when I was working on the burlap because no way regular floss would have looked good with holes this big. But I continued working with the pearl cotton on this version of this project. And it just is too big. It's too rounded, I guess, and too bulky. And you can really see every detail of the X. There's no coverage. I wanted to have a more uniform appearance to the patterns that I'm doing. You know, like, basically my complaint is that there's way too many holes in this lace. So yeah, I'm thinking I will probably, if I continue doing this, I'll probably pull all of this stitching out and replace it with a regular 6-strand DMC. I actually have a ton of this stuff. This is DMC 3865. It's like an ivory white, just your typical white. And I have a bunch of it left over from other projects. So I think maybe I'll switch to that and maybe hopefully get more coverage of the linen using this floss. So, yeah. I've been stitching this 1/3 with a thick floss. So I think if I switch to 2/3, maybe 2/2 with the regular DMC floss, it'll look more normal, more normally cross-stitchy. So anyway, oh, and I was also going to talk about this pattern. So this isn't a pattern exactly. It's meant to be. I mean, the whole idea for this was to make like a sampler of different styles of lace and ribbon and border type of designs, and do them all monochromatically in white on the brown fabric, kind of a hodgepodge of different designs. And I still really love that idea. So actually the ones that I've done, and you can see all of them here on my old version of the work, these came from various recesses of the internet, and honestly I'm not totally sure if I can find them all again, because I just looked until I found something that I like, and then once I was done with it on this, I didn't think I was going to be using it again, so I didn't necessarily bother to pin them on Pinterest or anything like that. So I'm not sure if I can find them again, and I have no idea who the designer is because I wasn't paying attention to that type of thing at the time. Except for a few. I do know that a few of these ones, particularly this thinner line and this thicker line, are designs by Anne Van Dam. And I believe they're in the book. It's called Dentelle, Galant et Ruban, and that's French for lace, stripes, and ribbons. And it's not a very common book. Amazon doesn't even sell it except for from third-party sellers when they have an extra copy that they want. So you can only really get it used online, and it's kind of expensive. It only comes in like hardcover, and it's like at least $30. But I still really want to buy it because the designs are so beautiful, and I just feel like it's the right thing to do. You know, if I want to use these designs to actually support the designer or, you know, whoever has the right to that material. So my plan is to get that book. And honestly, I think I would want to anyway, because these lace designs are so gorgeous, and they're really my style, and I could definitely see myself using them on other pieces as borders, or I don't know. So I do know who did a few of these laces, and I know where the book came from. It's a little expensive, but I think I want to buy it. And so I'm planning to do that. So yeah, this was kind of a discouraging project because I started and stopped so often. And like I told you before, I do get a little bit bored of doing all of the same color at once. So I got pretty sick of white when I was working on these. So it's going to be tough to get motivated to start all over again. But I still really love the idea, and I really want to do it. Like I said, they're going to be pillowcases, and I actually have the pillows I'm going to cover that I bought specifically for this purpose. They're just little white throw pillows that are they're just bare. They're from Target, and they're sitting over there on my couch, all uncovered. And so every time I see them and use them on my couch, I think to myself, oh, I really need to finish their pillowcases. Well, that'll motivate me, and I will get it done. But I'm probably going to have to unpick all of this because this fabric was kind of expensive, and I don't really want to go and buy more. So I'm going to unpick all of this, and now this pearl thread, it will be totally useless to me. I have a ton of it, and I'm not planning to use it on anything else. So that's kind of sad, but lesson learned. You know, sometimes projects don't go the way that you expected them to go, and you have to keep trying. Anyway, so that's really all that I had to show you guys today. Those are my works in progress, 4 of them. I do have a bunch of finishes from previous years that I would like to show you guys at some point, but I think I'll save that for another video. And I also would like to do some tags, maybe. I am a little unsure about how that all works because the name tag suggests that you do them when you get tagged, and I certainly haven't been tagged by anybody. But as a new viewer to the community, I do really enjoy watching everybody else do them, and it certainly seems like there are a lot of people who are just doing them because they see other people do them. So, you know, let me know if that's a faux pas. But like the Know Your Stitcher tag, I think is a really good one to start getting to know people. And I feel like I already know a lot of you because I've watched the videos of you guys answering that tag. So I think I might do that at some point in the future, if that's all right. And then you can, you know, if you're interested, hear more about how I got into this and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. Please leave comments if you have anything to say about any of my work or any suggestions for me. Like I said, I'm looking to meet you and hopefully get a little more integrated into the community. So, until next time, happy stitching.